Thought I already clicked that. Okay, so back to what we did so that you can see it in a bit bigger. This was the original when lights first were coming back. So huge board, huge heavy thing. We'll zoom in. You can see the piece.
Kim, we lost your sound. There you go.
And then we have this is the size that we're doing. This one was with a stencil. We're going to be using chipboard barbed wire, my broken piece. If you don't have, if you didn't purchase this kit, we're going to still teach you at the same time, get any surface. I'm going to use some chipboard.
I'm sorry, we're not seeing Kim at all. We're just hearing her voice, but we're seeing somebody else with glasses on our screen.
That's weird.
I can only see her in gallery view.
I can see you, Kim.
I'm seeing Kim just fine.
I see Kim.
Okay, let me try doing, let me go. Does this make it so you see me? Mom? I heard Mom's voice.
I'm not your mother.
No, my mom is there.
Yeah, I am here. No,
now, am I your primary screen?
You're on my primary screen. I'm Bonnie.
Okay, Bonnie, thank you. Tracy, am I on your primary screen?
Yes.
You're on mine. It's Deb. Hi.
Okay, Deb, the other Deb, not my mom, Deb.
Hey, Deb.
Georgia, hit unmute and tell me if you can see me, both Georgias. We have two on.
I see you.
Okay. All right, we're gonna keep going then. So,
this is Sandy. I cannot see you.
Sandy, you can't see me?
Nope.
This is Linda. I still have Tracy on primary screen.
I still have Tracy.
Okay.
Now I have
Sandy, go up to the upper right corner. You'll see a button that says View. Speaker. Switch it to speaker.
I don't have a view.
How am I doing for everyone?
I have mute, start video, share screen, participant.
Oh, no.
No, upper right.
I'm on my upper right.
Oh.
Does it say gallery view?
No, I don't have that either.
On an iPad, it's on the left.
Okay. I see gallery view on the left.
There we are. Now we got chat.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
But I only have just a very tiny picture of her.
Okay, well,
click. You changed.
Click it.
Yep.
Now does it say speaker view?
Gotcha. Thank you very much.
No, that's okay. That is why we're here and we're running this so that we can all learn how to guide everyone through. So again, we're going to repeat one last time, just the board. So we did a light up board for the holidays. If you didn't purchase the kit, we're using some chipboard. If you have a tag or anything like that, a little bit harder surface because you're going to layer up a lot of ink is great, but if you don't have it, that's okay. We're going to teach you all the same techniques. So to start, we pre-prepped our board. I did some preemptive classes. So my board has been stained and painted white. So I'm going to show you what I did using the little piece of chipboard. And I'm going to switch over to my other screen once I find it and turn it to the spotlight. Oh, there I am. Hold on. Go back. Okay. Do you all see my screen? My white?
I see it.
Okay. Bonnie, I see it.
Okay. Just making sure we made the right switch. So I've pre-painted my board and I'm ready to sand it. For those.
Sorry, it didn't change on mine, so I'm sure everybody who's on the same kind of program that I'm on don't have it changed either. I still see you.
Okay, hold on. I just gotta find my screen again. Okay. How are we doing now? Still the whiteboard?
No, just you.
I see your whiteboard.
I don't know why it almost. I see the whiteboard.
Okay, that's what I need to know, is that you're seeing my hand, not my...
Yes, I'm seeing your hand and the whiteboard with the pieces on the board.
Okay.
I'm seeing.
Bonnie, that's what I'm seeing.
Okay.
I see it, but it's very small.
Okay, so that's where you're gonna have to change your view, your gallery view, to the speaker view.
Got it. Thank you once again.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Okay, and I don't have anything on my screen that says speaker view. I'm
What's in the changes? I don't understand.
even under more chat meeting.
It changes then, you know, all of a sudden.
The weather affects this too.
Okay, why did we work so well for Tracy and now mine is being silly? Okay, can everyone see the white screen now?
What kind of computer are you on, Kim?
I have a Dell. I'm using got a different camera from
Yeah.
the other one.
I'm seeing your whiteboard.
Okay, we're gonna go forward. I'm gonna just slide this over and you're going to grab a dark brown ink pad or paint, anything that you want. And you're going to start just rubbing it all over your surface. Super simple. And give it a spritz. Yes, I have brushes, people, but this is how I grabbed my finger. Okay, you're gonna give it a dry. I use my heat tool. I want to set it up so when I put the white over, I get white and not brown or mud. Okay. And then you're going to take your white paint. Hopefully I got enough left in this one. I'm using an Americana acrylic white. Nothing too fancy. Doesn't, oops, didn't need that.
Yeah.
The old stuff?
Huh?
The old paint.
No, that's the paint I use. Why?
But they're out of business.
I'm not out of business. Why'd you say that? See?
And I'm gonna take this and set it. Oh no, you got to keep going. We're gonna dry it. Okay, so while that is dry, I'm gonna set mine to the side. So go ahead and
Clean all this stuff.
someone's on there. Hang on.
Sorry, I need to get by. Potty too.
Sorry, just muting a couple people. Okay, so from there, what we're gonna do is use a sandpaper once it's dry, and you're gonna hit it with sandpaper. Thicker or finer grit, this one's a 400. but you could use like a 150, 200, whatever you want. It will peel back your surface a little bit more depending on how much grit you have. I'm just going to come. The purpose of that is to help start blending your colors around. And you're going to pick, so if you saw my video before, I had done my whole thing. I was supposed to mask this off so it stayed lighter. And instead I went brown over everything. So I've made a blob in the middle because I don't care to worry about how it's going to look, because as I put this in, it'll start to fill up the space as I do my layers. That's how I'm going to fix my broken piece. So I know that this is where I want to start. So I'm going to take a pen, which I forgot. So I'm going to use the tools at my hand. And I'm just going to grab a little bit of ink, and I'm going to decide I want my lights to come in down here. So I'm going to make a little black circle where I'm going to drill my hole. And then I'm going to take my first stamp, which is my house, while it's dry, and I'm just going to stamp my house on where I need it. That way I've got my scene getting set. Oh, dang it. That's okay. I can still see enough of it. From there, I can build up the rest of my scene with my stamps. So we used we're using a little house, some trees, one of the two mountain stamps, and I'm going to explain these mountain stamps to you after, because there's another extra secret you get to do with them, and a wired fence. So I'm going to take my wired fence and ink it up really thick. This time, make sure it's good and wet. And I'm going to place that along my house, pretty close to it. I'm just going to stamp it down. Then I'm going to take my mountains, and I think I want the ones with more detail. And I'm going to build them up. And for those who are curious, these are Alberta's mountains. I took the image as I was driving back from Fairmont. So these are this is our home, Alberta and BC, that I spliced together. And then I'm going to take the tree because I want just a little bit more around my house. So I'm going to use one part and put it here, and I'm going to use the other part and put it over here. So I'm going to take my little stick tree. So I just put the ink on this piece only, and I'm going to place him right here. And then I'm going to take my little evergreen, and I'm going to put him right here up the other side. And just like that, my scene is done. So now I can start inking and painting. And I used, if you see, just you can look at all of your stamps that you have and pick pieces out of them. You don't have to use a whole stamp, ever, never. I almost never do. From there, I take my ink pads because I have way more of them from making cards and stuff. And I will put my ink down on my mat, my craft mat, and I'll grab my paintbrush and I'm going to paint it in. So I'm going to use a little bit of green. Marlene, are you good now? Have you been able to switch over and see me? And some blue, we'll start with those. And a brown. when I do this, just to give you a side shot of what I'm doing, because my board is quite big, I've just placed them all down here, and I'm going to add a bit of water up at the top and just spritz my mat. That way I can take this brush and I just dip it in my water, pick up some of the color, starting with the green, except I don't know, there it is. And then I'm just going to add highlights of green onto my board, except I can't find my green. Where are you? Did I find you? Anymore. Darker, darker. Ooh, that's hot. I don't want to add too much green because I want it to be more like sprigs of grass coming through snow. And then I'm going to do some of the blue across the top, very super light. The reason we're going to paint this first, and I'm going to show you downsizing this to that little circle, so you can kind of see how I scale or what I do to scale. And I'm just going to add a bit of the green in as well, just to get my sky going. And then I'm going to use brown. And I'm just going to look up and see. So for the brown, I'm just going to paint into my house, up and down the posts, just give it like a hint of a watercolor effect. A little bit of brown out there, a little bit of brown in my grass because it is winter. My little dormant sticks of trees. Now I've done this so many times that even though my stamp didn't take quite as well as I want, I know how to paint it in and fill in my door and stuff, which is right here, my little doorway. Come on, need more ink. Pick it up and put it in. There we go. And then my favorite part to do, so I've colored it in, just quick and simple, is to take one of my circle sponges and a blob of white ink, so circle sponge, white paint actually, sorry. You do need to use a paint for this or else you'll get way too much bleed. I just throw it down on my mat. And I use my mat like a ink pad. Let me tip my camera up a little to show you. So I use my mat as the ink pad and I pick up in circles and daub it in circles, ink unevenly. Because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a moon here in the thing, and I'm just gonna slightly twist it a quarter of a turn, and that's how I get a nice full moon on my board. I want to do it just a little bit more because I don't feel I got it dark enough. Okay, so now we're going to let that all dry, and I'm going to do it again on the small piece so you can see where the small piece will go. So this is dried almost. Let me quickly dry it a little more. We're going to take our sandpaper. I wish I didn't, here, I'm going to turn off this light and see if I can get rid of some of the glare. No. Sorry, I can't see because it's bright white. It's really reflecting bad. I'm just gonna sand it up and peel back some of it. Don't worry about the peeling. It's all good. There. Now I've got a nice distressed board. And I'm gonna take my little tree, because my little tree with the swirl of Christmas is gonna look great. Okay, we all just saw me use it. Where did I put it? Mountain, a mountain. Okay, I haven't moved. What the heck? Just taking 1 second. I'm gonna breathe here because I didn't go anywhere. I was right here the whole time. Didn't fall on the floor. Didn't put it there. I just used it. Didn't fit under a stamp. Well, this is so funny. I haven't gone anywhere. All right, I guess this is going to teach us how to use something else. We're going to go with something else. I wanted my evergreen tip, but whatever. Where's my house? Let's see. I'm going to take this one. Wrong way, wrong camera. I'm going to just highlight this part and I'm going to put it in, since I seem to have lost the other stamp, which is absolutely crazy. There's some curse words that I really want to use right now. Okay, so then I'm going to stamp that right into the middle. Now I've got a little scene, so when we get to doing the, oh, I keep forgetting which camera I'm on. Turn it that way. And there you've made a little scenery inside the snowflake. So super simple, and I'll show you embossing this after with the bronze. How are we doing? I'm gonna turn on, yeah. I'm glad to know that the light came on, Brenda. That's the thing, is when you start doing some of these things, you start realizing you have all the tools you need at home and you don't have to worry at all about what you don't have. It's how to use what you do. While I'm doing this, I'm gonna have Caitlin put up some codes for everyone. What is it? UTC 2020 and UTCC 2020. So Canada gets 2 Cs, the US is just 1. So UTC 2020 for US, UTCC for 2020 for Canada. Those are gonna get some discounts for the holidays. We wanted to make sure everyone could have sales. If you're learning stuff, if you're wanting stuff, it's a buy more, get more deal, where if you buy 1 item, you get 5%, 2 items, you get 10%, 3 items, 20, 4 items, 30, 5 items, 40% off your order. We also have some free shipping components when you hit a certain dollar value. And we're launching today the gifts of Christmas. So while I've said all that, hopefully this is dried up nicely. We're going to use Tracy's stencil for this part. You're gonna need a scrap piece of paper. And this works best with any clear embossing powder. We are using the Dawn's Luster. There we go. Sorry, we have a couple of different styles. This one is Dawn's Luster. It's clear, it's got a gold shimmer. So when you put it on, you'll get that highlighted color. And we're going to emboss. And I'm gonna teach you a trick about embossing ink and stenciling. Hopefully, if I can get into the brand new bottle I went and bought. Okay, I always take my lid off. You can stamp with this into things, but as usual, I'm going to just pour it onto my mat because I get a lot faster. Speed, it's about speed. I have little kids that tend to want to run in and say hello and be excited, and I need to always be on my game and finish the project or I never get back to it. I'm just cleaning my brush if anyone's curious what I'm doing right this second. The old-fashioned way of just spraying water on it and using a paper towel. Not my boobs today. As I told the girls that that's usually how I clean, is on my shirt. But I'm wearing a nice shirt for the camera, so I thought no to the boobs as a cleaning mat. Okay, so I'm going to use a nice flat wide brush to do this, and I'm going to pick up the ink, the clear ink, and I'm just going to run it across into that stencil randomly on any of the snowflakes that I like. On this one in particular, I really like this one. I think Tracy had said she likes this one. I like the variety in sizes too, that you can have these little tiny ones. So this ink takes a long time to dry without a heat tool. So you've got time to lay everything down wherever you want it and make a really good impression. The reason this board had to be dried in advance is because we don't want it to stick. It will stick to water. Like anything wet is where this is gonna stick for the embossing powder. I just want to make sure I have a good coverage. Let's use this little one up here because I don't want to overpower my image. So if you have done this one, you can also do the same thing, add a stencil onto it of a snowflake or anything you want and just emboss it. And I feel like I need something over here, maybe this bigger one. I've done this a lot. If you're curious what ink I'm using the Emboss It Dabber by Ranger. This is one of my favorite inks, partly because it smells like cinnamon. It works really well and it smells like cinnamon in here. Wish you could all smell my shop right now. So I'll tilt my board so I can see where I've put snowflakes. I feel like I'm missing something big here, so I want to put a little thing over here just to fill in the space before I do this, because it's always better to do it in one run. For timing. And let me add this one over here. Okay. I'm going to open up my embossing powder. So we actually sell big pouches. This is the sample size that comes with a kit because we don't want people buying a whole bunch of stuff, full-size stuff, when I can save you money and just package a sampler size, because you may try it and then be like, oh, I'd rather use something else. So that's why we do the sample sizes for our kits. And I'm just spreading it all over. Okay, my pouch is empty. That will be reusable. I'm going to put my paper down and I'm going to shake my board back onto the paper and reuse what I need if I've missed a spot. It looks pretty good. So I can actually put this excess back into the pouch and use it for later. As you can see, you do get enough in a kit for multiple uses. This would have done, I think we used 1/3 of it out of the pouch for the board. It goes far. Then we're just going to heat them and melt them on. I think, unfortunately, I don't know how Tracy sets hers to not hear the heat tool. but hopefully you're seeing these pop up and start to show and glitter. And I'll do a close-up for you in a second. All right. So here I'm gonna just lift it up. You can see just the light snowflake. It's super subtle. They're nice and glittery. The rest of the glitter on the board, that's all gonna brush off, so you'll actually just have the snowflakes. I'm just going to brush mine off right now. And there we have the board prepped and ready for the next step. Put it to the side, and you need to determine if you want to, oh, let's go back to this. You need to determine if you want to have lights that go along the house like my last one, because you're gonna drill a hole, or in this case, I'm gonna drill my hole here because I'm gonna do them around the other thing. If you do not have a drill, say drill, I will give a honest plug. This one is, in fact, mine. My husband bought it for me and wrote my name on it. Mostly because they kept stealing my tools to go to work. So I'm just gonna drill a hole. If you don't have this, you could use a nail and a hammer. It's very easy to do. You don't have to be afraid to do power tools. Okay, I have my hole drilled in nicely. I think I want to add a little bit more dark color too. And I'm going to grab my lights, which were right here, and untwist them again. I gave away my untwisted ones for Caitlin, I think, because I wasn't thinking I would need them for my class, or I would have kept them myself. Save myself this headache of twisting them out. And we do sell the lights. I think they're like a few bucks each. We tried not to make them too expensive. I'm so close. Why is this one little hook? There it is. Now where is it hooked onto? All right. You're gonna take your lights and you're gonna stick them through the hole. Make sure your hole worked and is big enough. Okay, mine's hole is. And then you're gonna measure just how much you need to leave your light switch at the edge of the board so you can turn it on and off easy. If you have the kit, please do not forget to pull the tongue of this thing out. Mine's stuck, slid back in. There. That will activate your lights. Otherwise, they didn't work a second ago. Now they do. So if you're having lights that don't work, it's probably slid in there and there's this piece of plastic blocking you. So I'm going to take up my lights and decide how much I need to go through, to go wrap around. They don't want to have all of them. It could be too excessive. As you can tell, they're super finicky and fun. The little metal wire just keeps kinking on itself. And I'm going to put my light to the side, I've decided, so I'm going to glue it in place with my hot glue. Make sure you leave it for the battery side up so that you can actually access the battery later if you need to change it. So that's where my light switch is going. I often use hot glue guns for everything, again, due to the speed of its drying. And then I'll just end up taping that down. Now I'm going to take my broken piece and determine where it's going and how much of this I need, because I'm going to eventually glue this back together so it's not so loose. I'm going to want to make sure that I have a few, like almost 2 full rings for wrapping. And so I'm going to cut off all this excess here. So this is how much excess lights I had. I might pop up to my other one, but I still ended up with cutting off 2 feet of lights. You get a lot of lights in here. Okay, so now that that's done, I'm going to put my board to the side and I'm going to do the embossing of the copper, burnt copper leaves. Now, this is one of almost everybody's favorite, just so you know. You're going to grab your piece of paper, make sure you don't have the other glitter stuff on. You want it nice and clean. And you're going to repeat the same thing by spreading your color all over it. My paintbrush is going to be a little bit white at some points, just doesn't really matter because I'm going to cover it in full. And because I got ink on that side, I'm going to flip mine over for a second. And we're going to use the burnt copper leaves and show you the magic to get a nice rusted, no effort rusted barbed wire. Look. Again, powder's fully reusable. I'm just gonna toss it in there, brush it up on, shake it off and heat. This you'll want to use your scissors just to kind of hold it in place. We use this craft mat because it's super durable against the heat, so you can go straight to the board or straight to your desk. So embossing powder used to be a solid color, but now we've taken it up into an art medium. So you can get hammered effects and all kinds of metallics. This one is called Burnt Copper Leaves. It's got a series of greens and coppers and golds throughout it. Basically because of the fall colors that we really like. And then this blends well with it. So edges, if you've missed an edge, which I did on purpose, it's very easy. You can go back, add, dip in, just rub it in there and heat it up and then finish it off. The other thing you want to make sure you get is the sides of your project. A raw exposed piece can make it look incomplete. So you want to make sure that it wrapped over the edge here and over the edge here. That's going to be the difference between a finished project and an incomplete one. All right, so I'm not too sure how many people are doing the same piece, so I want to give you time to get all that done. I'm going to do my second piece quickly so that I have it ready to go. We're almost finished my class and we'll head into the next one, but at the end of mine, we're going to take about 5 minutes, let people go restock with beverages, have a question and answer period for me and Tracy, and then we will continue with Deb, and that way everyone can use the washroom or do whatever they may need to without worrying. As I had mentioned before, we are recording this, so don't worry if you do miss something. I plan to have it up by tomorrow because I have to edit the videos because I want to put them in 4 videos so that you can look at just the one you have and don't have to scroll through each one to try and find where you need to catch up. And so if I can do that process quickly, there's a big if, I am technically savvy, but I'm also technically juvenile at some of these tasks. So it might take me a while to do the editing and splicing. I'm going to use a second piece of paper and just shake this over top to speed this up. I'm just going to look up. For those who don't know, my #1 thing is embossing powder. So if you are wondering if we have it, the answer is yes. If not, I probably made it. I love watching, I should note, as a medium surface, you don't have to melt it all the way. You could use the powders like glitters. In this case, there's a charred gold one. I use it often as a dirt because it reflects, it's got a lot of grains to it. So you can glue it on and just leave it the way it is, just like that, if that's the look you had wanted, that matte finish. Just a heads up. Okay, well that one cools so that I can add the next. It'll only take a few seconds. I'm actually, while I was doing that, I'm gonna burnish mine, which I'm just gonna take my finger and I'm gonna go over top of it slightly, and you'll see the difference here. Super shiny, not so shiny. And that's because I'm doing this rustic style. I kind of wanted to dull it down a little. And it gives a really nice finished, matte finish too. And you can do that on any powder, not just this one, but you can see the difference in the gloss and the sheen. Very, and I just use my finger. I might sand that one because I want it to be even rough looking. I kind of just go till I get, kind of like Tracy said, till we get to the feel. Oh, shoot. Hold on. I saw it go off. Okay. Sorry about that. That startled me.
Well, all I can say, Kim, is when it went off and you put it back on, I all of a sudden can see the finishing product.
Oh, good.
I didn't see how you did it, but I am on now.
All right, so there's my copper leaves, and I've got still left over from the pouch, and we just did a huge ring. We've got probably about 1/3 of it left. So know that your embossing powder, when you buy it, goes quite a far ways. And can do really big canvases. For those, I did a canvas last week, sampled one. I need my board. So I'm going to hot glue this into place. And then I'll add extra color wherever I feel like, just to finish off my board. But I am almost done. So to wrap, I need to hit the right spot first. Hold on. There we go. That's the way I wanted it. So I will just wrap. Okay, I gotta glue that down. If I ever go missing, use any piece of artwork. I've got fingerprints and DNA all over it, as most of us do. Come on, cool, cool, cool. That underneath. Might have made it too long. It's become more exciting than I wanted it to be for my light. Now, you might say, well, I don't want the bright silvery wire. Alcohol ink over top of these things. Amazing, quick technique to color your wires, just so you know. If you want any color, red, green, blue, whatever. If you get it over the light bulbs, your light bulbs will then glow in those colors. So lots of fun facts there. And I still have too much, so I will end up. Oh, hot. Ooh, still hot. Hot glue never stops getting hot. And I'm going to cut off this excess because I still have too much. So I took off like 3 feet of cable. And there's my board all lit up. The last thing I will be doing, but not on this because it takes a little bit longer, but I am going to show you in one corner. I would normally distress with a little bit more of the charred gold, but I'm going to show you how to burn your wood with a heat tool quickly. There we go. So while I'm doing this, it's turning it a dark line here. I've got, where is it? Right in here. And it's also cracking my wood. So I'm getting a nice, you can't tell, I can't get a good photo of that. But you can do that to get a really nice finished edge. So that is my board. Let's go this way. And I will just continue to kind of prep and primp it. To show you what I would do on the other one, I would take this little thing. I'm going to use some I would wish I had a blue paint handy. Oh, I do. Hang on. I'm going to just take a quick paint. This one is a chalky one. It's called Glacier Ice by Paper Artsy. And I'm just going to paint it over top, and then I'm going to use it while it's wet to do that gold shimmer and then put it on top. So if you're doing this on something else that's small versions, this kind of gives you an idea of how to, I got to wipe my mat down. Wow. Move that one. Let me flip this one. While it's still wet, I will just apply the powder right on top because it'll stick. And then I will heat that and glue those together. And then that one's basically ready. If you're curious, I'm using a new mini Wagner tool. I love it. It was able to become more cost effective for people who buy heat tools and use them all the time. So of course I support that, anything that saves us money. Otherwise we have craft rooms for $1 million and our family doesn't get it when we retire. They just end up throwing it out. So I just think it's important to have good, cost-effective. We'll glue that on, and then I'd probably just use a bit of ink quickly and ink up the middle, but